Is Amazon FBA dead or not? This is what I got wrong. So first of all, thanks to everyone who commented, whether privately or publicly, about my last video about selling my Amazon FBA business. I'll leave a link up here if you haven't seen it. I really received a lot of feedback, a lot of really interesting insights from people at different stages along their own Amazon FBA journey or non-Amazon FBA journey. And look, one of the things that stood out was that I did say in that video, is Amazon FBA dead? Yes, it may be, or it probably is. And that was a trigger for a lot of people. So I want to make this follow-up video to clarify my answer to that. And the goal of making this is that by the end of this, you do know, is it dead or is it still an opportunity for you? So let's start by saying that, first of all, if somebody asks me privately, if a friend goes and messages me on Facebook, hey, Miles, I'm thinking about starting an Amazon FBA business. What should I do? Should I start that business now, today, or is it too late? Is it too saturated? Blah, blah, blah. My answer is not going to be no. My answer is going to be, it depends. And after saying it depends, then we have to have a chat about who are they? What is their current situation? What are they trying to get to? Or what are they trying to get away from? Basically, what are their goals and objectives? And what do they have available to actually achieve those goals and objectives? Everybody's pathway is different. So you can't skip this step of having this dialogue either with, if you're my friend, you have the dialogue with me or with somebody else. But if this is the only sort of chance that you get to do this, then you need to watch this video, watch it till the end, go away, write down the things that I talk about, and then have this dialogue with yourself internally and go through this process of reflection. But either way, everyone's path is different. However, I do stand behind the personalized advice that I have actually given to anyone who has asked me this privately. And not in every case, but in more cases than not, and definitely more now than before, my final advice to that person asking me, Miles, should I start an Amazon FBA business? My final advice has been and will be, no, there are other things out there that you'll be better off pursuing. Here's where I think the upshot with an Amazon FBA business still is right now. If you're looking at starting with a relatively low capital, let's say to start a business, so I don't know, between 15 to 50K, something in that range, and you're either going to invest it or you're going to use it to start a business and then work in that business. And what you want to do, your goal and your objective is to end up with more than $1 million in the bank. That means like a big 7-figure or multi-7-figure payday after at least several years of work. And I'm going to call those moonshot returns, right? That's a great return. Then I'd say the risk weighted, maybe the effort weighted, basically considering risk and effort involved. I think that return with Amazon FBA may be really, really great, or at least is equally good as something like crypto. I'm going to try and not talk about crypto too much in this video, but for Amazon, I think if you go all in on that goal, your objective is this moonshot. You want to get the money that you have in your back pocket, in your bank account, and you just want to turn that into a huge amount of money. You want to put in work and create something that will give you that amount of money, that payday. I think that might be something that you can do. That is, if that is really your goal. And I'm going to talk more about what I mean by that. Another thing that I'll say as well is that if that is your goal, is you want to build a business rather than just you want to take some amount of money and then flip it and turn it into much more money, but you actively want to build a business. Building a business brings so many more side benefits that are, aside from the financial payoff, the non-financial benefits are huge. And I will talk about that more in this video as well. But basically, being an entrepreneur is a much better personal identity to have than being a speculator, a degen, a gambler, so to speak, which some of these other options might make you into that sort of thing. And this is kind of counterintuitive. This is actually not what I would have thought my answer would have been until I really thought about this. Because if I compare that particular pathway, that's like taking, let's say 50K and then turning into $1 million, $2 million, $3 million after 3 years, 4 years, something like that. That's one pathway. But the other pathway is actually taking the 50K and then turning it into a smaller amount, but still a positive amount. So you're turning it into 100K or 150K, 200K, something like that. So instead of the moonshot, you're going for what maybe should be a moonshot, still considered a moonshot, but in today's day and age, just a 3 to 4x, it's nothing to write home about, but it's still a great gain, right? If I'm talking about this second pathway, my gut feel tells me that actually, no, you should not start an Amazon FBA business. You should probably put that money into crypto or look at some of your other alternatives and other options that you have on the table. When I look at these two pathways, again, this is kind of counterintuitive because I know if you don't know that much about crypto, you're probably, all you've seen is this next altcoin that's going to 20x in 6 days. So you're like, well, of course, that's the moonshot, right? Again, topic for a different video, but that's kind of counterintuitively. I think the smaller, more reliable gain is actually with crypto than with Amazon FBA. Let me explain why I think that. I will try and explain why I think that. Amazon is really, really competitive. In 2021, 2022, Amazon is a highly competitive space. It is no longer an undiscovered, unexplored marketplace. Okay, so what does that mean? To me, that means, and I'm seeing this more and more, it's hard for me to really explain, I guess, or show you exactly what this means, but conceptually, I think this means the distribution, of returns of Amazon sellers or businesses in the Amazon FBA space. I think the highly competitive nature of it and other factors in the actual business model mean that the returns are very skewed. So what does that mean? It means that the gap or the difference between the worst case outcome and the best case outcome, and then the distribution of all the other businesses between the, aren't best or worst case, but are like in the middle somewhere. I think there's a big, long, stretched out space where you could do really, really well. Like I said, the moonshot return, but there's also so many different potential opportunities for you to do not very well or much, much worse. It's a really stretched out thing. It's not like everyone who gets into the space just does well. Because look, I've been in the space for around 5 years. I have hundreds of students. I have talked to probably dozens, maybe hundreds of people through this channel. I know other Amazon sellers at around my level, below my level, above my level, in person, privately as well. And so I've talked to people across this distribution, and I know that it's not like, not everyone is getting the same outcome. Recently, I've been speaking to a few people who I've met through the process of actually selling my business. And I know a surprising amount of people who are selling a single product Amazon FBA business for multiple 7 figures. So that means one product that essentially, if you're selling for multiple 7 figures, mid 7 figures, that single product is doing close to or up to $1 million in profit. One product. And just to be clear, that's like super, super impressive from my own perspective. I take off my hat to you. It's actually so impressive that I had to go find this hat to put it on to take it off for you. So my hat's off to you. So those businesses are the examples of what I mean by the top return. That's return on time invested, return on capital invested. That's low overhead requirements. That's pretty low complexity for a single product business doing that well. Like, those are just massive returns, right? In my own case, financial return, very, very high. Return on time invested, very, very high. Even though I had to launch a lot more than one product. So Amazon is just a high competitive, but high opportunity environment where if you make it to the top, like any of those examples or my own example, you can do really, really well for yourself. So the question is, how competitive are you? I think that's where the kind of misunderstanding lies, is that, look, if you're competitive, if you're intelligent, if you don't have psychological baggage that's holding you back, if you know what it's like in some part of your life to be in that top 20%, then you can do the same on Amazon, right? Then you can go get that payday. It's going to be waiting for you. It might take you a couple of years. You might have a few failed starts, but like, you'll get there. And if that's you that I'm talking to right now, then yeah, starting an Amazon FBA business or whatever, an e-commerce business, something selling physical products using Amazon and other internet, like online platforms, well, that's probably still one of the best possible things that you could do with your time and your money. Just as an example, like to connect this to me, like I never played any sports, so I was never competitive in that regard. But academically, I was competitive, and playing video games, I was quite competitive. Like, I played to win. If you ever come hiking with me, you'll see that like I really just want to like basically thrash myself to get to the top as fast as possible. I want to give it all that I've got. When I'm running, for example, like I will do hill sprints until I'm fucked rather than just trying to jog slowly, because I just want to go 100% all the time. So I'm just giving you my personal example so you can see what that looks like. But having gone through this process myself and then spoken to hundreds of people over a long period of time as well, and as I've been evolving through my own journey, seeing other people do it, I've slowly come to realize that most other people just, they don't really want that multi-million-dollar payday. They're not starting an Amazon business for that. Or rather, maybe they like the idea of that, but the actual process that they have to go through and the things that are required to be able to stick out that process and to come out the other end successfully at the top end, either consciously or subconsciously, most people really, really, really don't want to do that thing. They really can't get through that process. Can't or don't want to. To me, it's the same thing. These people, maybe now I'm talking to you, what they really want is they want to feel good about themselves. They want to feel like they're succeeding. They want to feel like they're just making a positive change in their life. They want to feel and be able to see that they're making gains rather than losing. And if they can feel that positive change in their life, then that's the real win. And yes, if you can make 50K or 100K while you're doing that, well, that's like an amazing experience. That's an amazing goal to shoot for. But the sacrifice and the risk and all of the work and the hard part that's involved in in getting to that multi-million-dollar payday, most people, I think, don't really want that. And this is not bad or good. It's just an observation of a personal observation of fact based on seeing this play out many, many times. And so to that person, if now I am speaking to you, then yes, I will tell you, whether you ask me privately or with other people around, whatever it may be, I will tell you that yes, there are other better options than Amazon FBA. One other point that I can't leave out in this video, and I'm only saying this because I received so many messages that were actually expressing this to me. So this was really great to receive these. Amazon, starting an Amazon business, maybe starting any business, but specifically starting an Amazon business instead of not starting one, it's a fantastic learning growth opportunity. This entrepreneurial arc of self-development for myself personally was massively valuable. It was life-changing. And I really want other people to be able to go through that. I really want other people to have that. It's a journey of self-discovery. It really is. The Amazon business is the vessel, and you could replace that with something else, but choosing to do the Amazon business instead of choosing to do nothing will allow you to go through that journey. Whereas doing nothing will not allow you to go through it. And I mean, personally, look, it was important for me to realize that it was something with a trajectory, and it wasn't just like this was this new end state. So now, for example, I'll post about this more on my channel, but I feel like I want to say post-entrepreneurial, but it sounds kind of stupid. So I'm not necessarily an entrepreneur anymore. I'm trying to actually distance myself from that. But I do not want to devalue the importance of going through that yourself. So if you have the option between just doing nothing and starting a business, and Amazon FBA is the business that you have the option of starting, then do that, because it's just, you will learn so much. You will learn the value of learning. You will learn the value of learning new things, of getting out there, of taking risks, of doing all these things, which even if your business never makes you a single dollar, even if you lose money doing it, well, that money that you lost will be a cheap investment into your future. And this is only if you consider all of this stuff, if you're conscious of it, whether you're conscious of it right now as you're going through this journey, or whether you only become conscious of it later on if you stop this journey. The value is there if you look for it. But again, like, who am I speaking to right now? If you are listening on the other end of this and you're just like, hey, I don't care about this stuff, Miles. Like, I just want to make money. I just want to get my 50 grand and I want to turn it into 150 grand. Well, then, yeah, the value that you place on what I've talked about for me being one of the most valuable things that I've done in my life, personally speaking, emotionally speaking, psychologically speaking, which was to become that entrepreneur through an Amazon business. Yeah, if you don't really care about that, then like maybe Amazon FBA or starting a business in general is just not the thing for you. So if you're just looking for the financial outcome rather than appreciating the growth that comes with basically the hard work and swimming through the sea of shit that you have to, or you may have to be able to get to the multi-million-dollar payday, the unicorn outcome at the end, which you should be shooting for if you are the type of person who will succeed on Amazon. And if you're not that type of person, you probably won't succeed. So are there better ways to get what you want? If you're not that type of person, there may be. run on rambly point, but is Amazon FBA dead? No, it depends, but depends on who's asking. It probably is. Look, guys, I'm sorry if I could filter these videos such that I could target the video for the person who just wants that quick flip. They don't want to do any of the work. They don't care about the growth opportunity. They just literally want a financial return, minimum effort. I would make the video just for that person. If I was speaking to you privately, again, going back to the start of the video, who are you? What is your current situation? Where are you coming from? What are you bringing to the table? And then most importantly, like, what do you really want to get out of this? And if the answer is millions of dollars, then are you willing to put in the work to get there? Are you willing to be competitive enough, or can you be competitive enough to get into that top, whatever it is, 10, 20%? If that's not you, you're just looking for that smaller return, but like you want to feel good. You want the feeling that you're progressing. You want to use this as a, I'm not a psychologist, but like you're actually using this as an opportunity to like psychologically heal or prove it to yourself that you can do this stuff. I mean, this is all on you. We all walk our own path. I hope that as you are walking your own pathway now and realizing that you are walking your own pathway, not just listening to some guru on the internet telling you what everybody should do in one video, then I hope that you can take away the things that I've talked about in this video and make a decision for yourself. Think about who you are, where you're coming from, where you're going, where you want to go, what you're willing to do to get there, and then tick the boxes that you can tick and cross the ones that you don't want to tick. And if it's the thing for you, do it. And if it's not, don't do it. That's all. Bye.